Like most people who point out the flaws and faults of others, even I, yep, the most humble of messengers, fall victim to this form of hypocrisy. And just for example, I recently pointed out the hypocrisy contrasting the goddamn Russians' invasion of the Ukraine with the fun-loving Americans' invasion of Syria. Well, actually, Jimmy Dore did. What about the hypocrisy of telling everyone, I quit, I'm off this cold-ass wall? Let's not even mention the weather, people. Put it on a chart, it's up and down. You'll get a stiff roller coaster neck looking at it. Yeah, people, I see it, I get it. Don't rub it in, so let's move on. For it is what it is, and these are strange times we find ourselves in. On Tuesday, the 28th of March, 2023. Gee whiz, April's right around the corner. Wonder what the weather's going to be like. Now, after getting some good comments and a few discussions, yep, at the bottom Peter Pit, it can happen. I see I need just a little more clarification for some of my comments concerning historic events, or specifically, non-historical fantasy events, like dinosaurs as we were taught, and Hollywood shows, and evolutionary science so-called. And nothing I'm going to say changes one hardcore cold fact, people. Those who refuse to learn from history are doomed to repeat it. So, TC, this channel's nutty little girl, asked a good question in the comment section of yesterday's podcast. Where do cavemen, dinosaurs, and Adam and Eve mesh, come together? A damn good question, TC, because each of us as individuals bring a lot of baggage to any issue. What we were taught, what we have seen, including Hollywood's television and movies, and what we believe. Yep, a religion. Everything is a religion. You don't do it, yeah, but it does you. You can't fight it or run from it. So, let's deal with it. As Barney would tell Andy, let's nip this in the bud. And just like when someone says Santa Claus, an image is formed in our minds. Yes, we know who Santa Claus is. But does that mean Santa Claus is real? Does it now? Really, people? Same with caveman. The Neanderthal-looking creature who can't speak but grunts, ugh, wrapped in furs, carrying a club, and dragging his female friend off to the local cave, most likely to have some nasty sex. At least that's what I would be doing. But where did that image come from? Science so-called textbooks, artist conceptions, Hollywood movies like 1 million BC, featuring, get this people, tranny man, Raquel Welch, scantily clad, with his fake tits all but falling out of the top. Even insurance commercials, so simple, even a caveman can do it. You remember those? Well, I do. Then we have the additional problem of trying to look back, looking backwards over periods of time, over history. It goes far beyond bragging for any one author to write a book titled The Real Reason for World War II. The good war, fought by the greatest generation, so we are told. Now think about it. As recent as World War II was, how could any one man know every reason for World War II, leave alone the real reason? 50 people spending 50 years poring over all the archived records would struggle, and those 50 weren't even in the smoky rooms where Team Evil's players were discussing their plans. Plans that go back to our Civil War, believe it or not. Oh yeah, the founder of Masonry, Albert Pike, he wrote the third letter. Plans that actually, in reality, go back to the beginning. Now, speaking of the Civil War, let's go back to the 1860s, and it will become even harder to derive the real reasons for the Civil War. A well-documented photograph period in our history, including aerial photographs. Yes, people, I said aerial. Now, how did Matthew Brady, famous Civil War photographer, pull that one off? Balloons. Probably made in China. I love the way Trump says China. Now let's go back to 70 AD and the destruction of Jerusalem after the crucifixion. Not a lot of source material still available in comparison to WW2. A lot of fragments and no pictures. Are you starting to see my point, people? So what does Team Evil do? They want us to go back 60 million years ago. And we have to take their word for it. In spite of the fact, all, as in every dating method they have, are bullshit technologies. Carbon-14, potassium argon, lead leach, stratification, just to name a few. All bullshit. There is a fossilized riverbed in Texas that you can visit that clearly shows dinosaur tracks alongside human footprints. They walked together. That's how they meshed. Was a guy out walking his pet dinosaur? If I know, people. But what I do know is scriptures mention there were behemoths on the earth before the flood of Noah, before the first judgment. The first judgment the real scientist mentioned in yesterday's podcast. And he mentioned the second judgment. I really think that's where we should be concerned about, because it's right around the corner. It's way later than we think. And it gives me precious little time to get stuff done. And you know what? I've got stuff to do.